Hello, welcome to the Run Testers. This is our first run review of the Adidas Adistar. Both Kieran and I have the shoe, but it's Kieran who's gone out to log some miles in it to give you his kind of first run impressions, and I'm going to take you through some design points of the shoe while he does that. We'll kick off with some of the key stats we've got going on here. So the Adistar costs £120 in the UK or $130 in the US. It has a 6mm drop from heel to toe, and it's a fairly hefty shoe. It's 336 grams in my UK size 9, which is 11.9 ounces. Now, the reason for that weight is pretty obvious. It's got, a huge amount of foam underfoot. It's a shoe built for the long, slow run, according to Adidas. It's a comfortable option rather than something you'd be taking out for speed work. Now, the midsole has got some new stuff in it. It's Adidas's Repetitor foam. That's the white stuff, all the stuff from the kind of midfoot to the forefoot, and then there's Repetitor Plus at the back, the blue stuff. Now, Repetitor Plus is a firmer foam than the Repetitor further on in the shoe. It's an EVA foam. It's made with 15% recycled materials. The idea of having the firmer foam at the back here is to kind of stabilise heel strikes. And then you've got the softer Repetitor foam further on in the shoe. Having a confirmation on what the material used for the Repetitor foam is, we'll try and get that for the full review. But it's noticeably softer to the touch than the kind of firm Plus foam at the back here. Your foot kind of sits a little bit within this Repetitor Plus foam at the back here. It's a bit like a bucket seat. It'll be familiar to anyone who's used kind of HOKA shoes of a similar style. And that creates a bit more stability. And there's a few other stability features on the shoe in general, actually. Like you can tell at the back, there's a slightly beveled heel and then that kind of really, dramatic shaping to try and counter any overpronation. And also on the upper, you've got some kind of elements that are there to provide a bit more support and structure to the foot. But it's not like a full stability shoe. It's quite interesting actually that they've gone for the firmer foam at the back, softer foam at the front. When HOKA do their dual density midsoles, they have soft foam at the back to kind of cushion landings, and then a firmer foam at the front to kind of help you push off your toes. So yeah, very interesting to see how this rides. So like I mentioned, the upper has got kind of this soft cage system around the midfoot and some other kind of reinforced areas to create a bit more structure. There's kind of open mesh there as well, and then there's loads of padding kind of around the collar and the tongue of the shoe. It's a shoe built primarily for comfort, so you do expect some nice plump padding on the top there. The outsole, you've got a little bit of a cutout going on here to try and reduce the weight a little bit. And then you've got kind of a continental rubber outsole, which is quite common in Adidas shoes. It's always been really good for providing grip in a range of conditions for me, and I don't expect it to be any different with the Adistar. So, unfortunately, I couldn't get out for a run them myself today, but Kieran, as soon as they arrived, he grabbed them out of the box and he went out for a run to give you his thoughts. So I'll hand over to him now for our first run impressions.
So I've just taken the Adistar for the first run. I did 5 miles at a really kind of slow pace, which is what they're intended for. These are big, high stack shoes with massive kind of padding and comfort and cushioning all around them that are designed really for when you want to go and do those long, slow runs. I guess, just people who are not necessarily out for any kind of particular performance, but still want to run long. That's what these shoes are really aimed at. And I have to say, when I first put them on, I thought, I wasn't really sure. When I put them on the house, they look clumping. That stack of cushioning really looks quite bizarre, peculiar. But once I got them on, after the first sort of mile or so, I sort of dropped into them and they started to feel a lot more comfortable and actually weirdly kind of natural. So when you look at that huge kind of stack of cushioning on the bottom, what you think here with these is that they're going to be a really heavy and quite clumpy, sort of clunky run. And actually, I'm really surprised that the opposite was kind of true. They don't feel as heavy as they look on the foot. I mean, I get a feeling that these, in my head as I was running, I was thinking, well, these are actually a lot like a HOKA Torrent in many ways, Underfoot, despite that big kind of stack of cushioning, it's not very, very squidgy. It's not very soft. I wouldn't say it's overly sort of cushioned and squished in response, like a big stack of foam that you'll get on some of these, like a Nova Blast or something. It does feel a bit more like a HOKA Torrent to me, where you've got a big stack, but it's kind of runs a little bit firmer. Aside from one thing, to me it feels like the insole in these shoes is actually giving you a little bit of extra kind of sponginess underfoot, and that produces a little bit more of sort of soft cushioned ride. Now, I did feel that they kind of help sort of roll me through my stride. I felt easy days running in them, and if that's what they're intended for, I actually think they pulled it off here. I was more than happy just trotting along at that kind of steady pace. The shoes on, I didn't feel like they were giving me much extra, but they were making it sort of fairly comfortable underfoot to run like that. Overall, that kind of padding, the huge padding tongue, big padded heel collars, and almost inside what you're getting is this kind of a sort of wrapping, kind of enveloping feel. If you like a lot of kind of wiggle room and breathability and space in your sort of toe box and in the shoe, you're not going to get that here. This does sort of feel like it's a cocoon. It's quite, you know, your foot is quite kind of cocooned and wrapped and swaddled in this shoe. You know, it's you can feel that kind of, that there's a lot going on in the uppers, but it sort of holds the foot, you know. And I guess the idea here maybe is that they're looking for this to be a little bit more like a, you know, you sit back and slink back into a saloon car and go for comfort. And if that's what they're aiming for, they've kind of achieved it. It's a funny one really, because I thought on first look I wasn't going to enjoy running in these. And I have to say, for that run where I'm just coming back from COVID, I haven't been running very much. I'm running at paces that are much slower. I was out just taking it very, very easy. I actually really enjoyed running in these shoes. I mean, yes, there is a big kind of heel protrusion here that, you know, might be a little bit reminiscent of something like of the Edge shoes in the HOKA range, but I didn't really feel like it was quite as kind of interfering as someone on some of those shoes are. You know, you've got a big wide platform here too, so stability was really solid. You know, I felt in control. Your foot is almost sinking a little bit bucket-like into that kind of insole and into the sort of the shoe. And then when you've got that wide kind of platform coming out either side, I just felt stability was really solid with these. You know, those uppers, again, they are quite thick. There's quite sort of a dense mesh going on there. There's a lot of overlays here as well. And overall, it does make the foot feel a little bit hot. It did on those 5 miles. Underfoot, I did feel a little bit like the sole of my foot was starting to get a little bit hot. Not hot spots, but just, I don't know, it's the kind of sensation that over longer miles, I'm not sure I really like. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how these hold up when you actually take them out and do something like a, you know, go out and do like a 17 mile, just really, really slow plod. So my first run verdict in these is I'm actually massively surprised. I didn't think I was going to like these shoes. I actually really did on that first run. I found them to be perfect for that kind of easy pace that I was running at. And for those kind of plods where you're just going to keep going and going and going without really pushing too hard, I think they do a really, really solid job. Good stability. I think they're comfortable overall. I think there's sort of decent grip on the unders with that Continental rubber. It's nice. I didn't, you know, you're not doing any really fast turns, but that did a job. You know, maybe a little bit of sort of heat going in there with those kind of dense uppers. But overall, I think first run, this is a shoe that I really want to explore more. I think a lot of people might actually like this. One caveat, I mean, I tend to like a little bit of a firmer run, and these do come up a little bit firmer. They are a bit like a HOKA Torrent in that regard. And yeah, if what you really want is sort of super easy, squishy, you know, pillowy, marshmallowy, this might not be the one. I personally don't feel like you're getting that from the run, but a really interesting shoe. So there you have it. That was our first run impressions with the Adidas Adistar. Really interesting shoe. We will be doing a full review with more miles in it. So if you have any questions, want to know something about this shoe, hit us up in the comments below, ask away, and we will endeavour to answer those in the full review on the channel soon. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll hope to see you on the run testers again soon.